Hey there! Today we are going to take a look at 3 Cuttlegeists by Piper Makes, who has an absolutely outstanding Patreon. And if you don't find her link in the liner notes of this video, then you should make a comment about it so that I will definitely put it there. Now, these are great stand-ins for ghost heels for Warhammer 40K. I'll also be using them as science fiction role-playing figurines. Now, let's take a look at a model for scale. This is a typical 25 millimeter figure. So, as you can see, these things are pretty huge. Let me get my hand in there. They're on 105 millimeter oval bases, which means it's 4 inches from one end of these bases to another. So these guys are about 5 inches tall. And first off, they don't come in, even though they're 3D printed, you don't just and end up with this. They come in quite a few different pieces, and there's loads and loads of options, which is really a good thing about this creator. And let me just tell you about them. So first off, they have a main body, a head. There's like 6 different heads that you can have. They're magnetized. They don't come that way, obviously, but they are designed with little holes for magnets. Now, they're set in millimeters, so if you go to imperial measurement, you may have to drill them out just a little bit more. So these are 1/8 inch magnets, and I did have to drill just a tiny, tiny little bit to get them to fit absolutely perfectly. So they have these arms. I think there's a version where the weapon is just underslung on one arm. Yeah, and by the way, in these files, you get zillions upon zillions of just options of how to do them. So as you can see, for the underslung gun, I got a left-facing one, and a right-facing. Wait, hold on. Yeah, I got a right-facing one and 2 left-facing ones. That is correct. Just for variation, this little sensor ball, which I absolutely love. In fact, let's just go ahead and just get a close-up here. There's like 4 different versions of that sensor ball. There's different heads, and what you have on most of these designs, the torso has 2 sockets. It has an upper one and a lower one, and they're designed to have like arms that come down, so like for manipulation. And these, I don't know, belts, there's 4 of them per model, and they actually fit on real easy. Like you'd think it would be fiddly to get them on there, but it isn't. And they come with, uh-oh, I didn't paint this one. They come with a thing where you can get these connector balls, and then, I don't know, like a little flange or runnel where the weapons go in. And the weapons have 16th inch, well, they're it's 2 millimeters, which is not 16th inch. I probably have to drill those out just a little bit. But for now, since I haven't got the magnets, they are just sitting there. And they do, if you put enough layers of paint on them, they will actually just slide in and stay there reasonably. So there's a main torso, there's this back engine part that fits on, and that's one piece. And I just gave it a little glow to give it some color. I chose a very bland color scheme, very military, gray and olive green. Not olive green, it's called brown olive. Hold on. You know what? I actually literally have the paint right here. On another video, I went over all the paints that I used. No, not stone gray. Where is it? This is so weird. All right, that's, oh no, here it is. It's brown violet. There you go. I wasn't even close. And this is not available in the US for the next, like, 6 months, so pretty lame. Supposedly, the other version of this is called US Olive Drab by the same company, and there's, of course, it's a military type paint, so you can find a zillion of them elsewhere. Now, let's talk about, yes, this video is going to be like super long. Let's talk about the legs. The legs come in 4 different parts. So you have a hip, or what's that called? It's an upper leg called, like a femur, and a thigh, that's it. And then there's a connector piece that goes here, which you can spin a little bit to get different results, and then you have a shin piece, and then there's the foot. So when you're putting these guys together, unless you know what you're doing, it's going to be really frustrating. And my way of doing it is I just put one foot down, and then I just base it on that. I make a leg, and then, so I have a leg, and then, so with the foot that's already glued on, and a whole leg, I now get the hip into position, and kind of figure it out that way by moving it around. And then I just imagine in my head this floating there, and then I can basically guess where this leg is going, and then create that one down. And then the last thing you put on is the other foot. So you can actually move this leg around and move the foot around so you get a natural looking feel to it, which can be very frustrating to the novice. This goes together very well. Super easy, and this housing here has magnet slots in it as well, which is really great. And this one has the what would be in 40K land something that would suit burst cannons. And so this guy actually has the different weapon types. That flamer. I don't know what it's called. It's the equivalent of like a Melta weapon. Has 18-inch range. And in 10th edition, these are all just twin-linked, which is reroll wounds, which is an absolutely terrible mechanic in an overall very good edition of the game. But so this is, it's even though there's two of them up here, it's only considered one weapon in the game. And then now this guy, I just gave him the regular sized fusions that would go on a battle suit, which you can see is much smaller. In fact, let's move them up together, see a little height comparison. I would love to do an army that was all battle suits, and I can now, so that's very exciting and cool. I'm mixing 40K commentary in with my review of these models. Okay, my review, very simply, is they're awesome, and you should get them and print them and have them and make them and love them. And as you can see, this guy has the regular fusions, and my concern was they would interfere with the model, but they don't really. They just enhance it and make them look cooler. Right? That it would sort of upstage this torso area, which is so nice. Everything on this model is so nice. It's so good, guys. It's insane. And the thing is, though, I think that you will need to get your bases. There's other companies that make them now. I just go on eBay. These bases, I think, were $1.80 each. And, of course, if you buy them through Games Workshop, they're like $6 each or something like that. And, yeah, you can just get them. Let me see if I can turn this guy over. Yeah, there's nothing on the bottom. And those bases are awesome. Just, there was no problem. In fact, I think these actually are Games Workshop bases, but I recently just purchased more on eBay for other reasons. Yeah, this is actually from the Dominion Fantasy set. I had to pry an orc guy off of there. And anyway, yeah, I'm really, really happy with how the bases turned out. As you can see, I put in a lot of love. This guy has like a little puddle on it. And I did give them some dynamicness on the feet. You know, like this guy's kind of stepping off of this little piece here. And that's another thing. If you're building these guys and you end up with like a crooked foot or something like that, you can fix it like this. You can just build a base part underneath it. This guy was on purpose. I started with this foot and made it so he was stepping up onto a thing. Now, oh yeah, my last advice is there's a hip connector ball, like above the pelvis piece. There's like a ball that goes, and that means you can really position that torso on there. But the thing is, you got to tilt him back just a little bit. So so it looks like he's actually carrying this heavy gun. Otherwise, you can, in fact, look at this guy. Look how perfect that is. Like he's leaning back just a little bit because this gun, I mean, it looks like he's hoisting it, which is correct. So the model actually has some balance that makes sense, like he's bracing himself for it. And this pack, of course, gives it yet more balance. Like, you know, there's actually some weight back there. If you got rid of that part, you know, you'd have a bit of a problem with being top heavy on there. And guys, that's what I have to show you now. I'm really, really, really excited about these guys. They're so cool. I wonder if I'll end up running all 3 of them every single game. I don't know. I'll keep you guys posted on this project. Oh, and by the way, the main gun, there's 2 different types, and here's what they look like. And now this, the great thing about, there's so many great things about 3D printing for the consumer. And that's what it's all about. Is it good for the consumer? So basically this all came out in one piece. And there's a belt feed or like a strap that goes around, but I did not like that. So I just left these guys open as like vents. And then there's this piece, this ammo drum or whatever. And that actually glues onto there. And then this is the cyclic ion raker, and which I will be taking, I think, every time. It's just so incredibly good. And I do recommend, guys. This is pretty awesome. All right, thanks for tuning in.